Great read here, The Business of Marriage and Medals. Very unique take. He's Canada's most decorated skeleton athlete, Jeff Payne, and his wife, Allie. They've penned this book together. Now, being an elite athlete, being married, both are very challenging, apparently.
I would think so.
The parallels together, bringing them together, number one question on my mind is, can this be applied? Because Jeff has an extraordinary career, has him on the road, very stressful, and, you know, their experiences, can we all learn from this? So we'll talk with Jeff and Allie Payne coming up in a bit.
High-performance athlete, high-performance marriage.
We'll see how it works out.
How to achieve gold in your marriage.
What do I gotta do?
Very good morning to you. Got a Locked On Breakfast Television. It's 8:20 on our way to a high of 16 degrees. The Business of Marriage and Medals, a relationship's journey through elite performance. Very interesting book. He's Canada's most decorated skeleton athlete, Olympian Jeff Payne, and his wife, Allie. And she has a medal in your heart, I think, for sure, Jeff.
Yeah, for sure.
Joining us. And I want to, get to the root of this first and foremost, because Jeff, you think, okay, he's going to write a book. I thought when I first heard you wrote a book, it would be all about, the speed or maybe the stress of being an athlete. Awesome take as far as somebody who's married and in a relationship. Would love to pick this one up. So why write this book? What was the impetus?
Well, we've gone through 13 years of ups and downs and made a lot of mistakes, and it's a lot easier to learn from someone else's mistakes. So we're putting ours out there on the table so that people can read them and maybe relate to us and maybe learn a few of the ways we got through it and have come out the other end of 13 years of elite sport and happily married and still in love.
Standing.
Yeah.
Allie, do you remember the time and the spark of, let's do this, let's put pen to paper, let's share a story? Remember when that came
Absolutely. Actually, it came through me. I was on my treadmill in July of 2008, and it was a 20-minute, just really powerful, clear message that was, wow, we may have not done this really well in the beginning, but we've learned something, and elite performance is everywhere. It's not just sport. It's in business. It's in everyday lives. It's anybody who's pursuing a passion where it might affect your relationships. And we have got to share what we've learned. We have to get this message out and give hope to thousands, millions of other relationships. So, yeah, we're really excited to be sharing our messes and successes.
Okay, so a two-part question. I'll hit you with this one first, Jeff, and that is, what surrounding your career, surrounding your sport, made your relationship unique as far as those challenges are concerned, because you're a pro, an athlete, an elite athlete?
Well, I think the unique part of my story is that I'm an athlete and an Olympian. The rest of our story, the ups and the downs and the relationship struggles, I think that's very, very universal out in the world. Certainly me having to travel to go to my competitions and be away for extended periods of time puts most of the stress on the relationship, and then on top of that, there's the financial, and there's a lot of stresses that come with being an athlete and a lot of responsibilities that I have to give back, and that takes time as well. So it's a time management challenge mostly.
And Allie,
Yeah.
those problems that maybe you thought were very unique, is this something that talking with girlfriends, married girlfriends, you said, I'm not alone?
Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, so one maybe more extreme example would be wives of men in service who are serving overseas. I mean, I would never compare myself to that. I've never worried about Jeff's life. But absolutely, that we've actually been asked to, let's get into that field. You need to take this book to the armed forces and relate with those wives for sure. So it is a very relatable story. We're an oil and gas city. There's a number of executives, thousands of executive families in oil and gas companies who could read that and say, yeah, that's us. So we are unique in the way too that Jeff, as an Olympic athlete, we're one of the very few percentile of Olympians that are, number one, married, and number two, have children. So it does put us in a bit of a unique field in that area, but in the rest of the world, it's very common.
Very common.
Yeah.
Jeff, was there any reticence on your part to say, okay, I am in the public eye, my career rolls along, and obviously with your name and with your success will continue to be in the public eye, that said, I don't know if I'm comfortable sharing my personal stories?
There's a lot of discomfort putting this book out there because it's very, very honest, and we've told it like it was and like it is, and you know what? It's the truth. And I've always believed in standing up for the truth and fair play and all those things, so this is just an extension of the Canadian way in sport. So it had to be done.
Had to be done, and it is in paper now. Allie, let's talk about the fact that you share your stories, but also, maybe give some insight and inspiration as to how you would tackle problems head on and with family and friends and what it might be. So
Yeah.
more than just a story,
Yes.
you kind of take people from A to Z or A to Z.
Yes, so I'm an executive and team performance coach with Step Up, and so my training, it's kind of not fun, but it's a different perspective because I've walked the line of the doing it and the challenge of it, but I have training and skills to articulate it as well. So at the end of every chapter in our book, we're giving tools to the families and the relationships, business or personal, that read this book on how they can improve their partnerships and relationships and perhaps not go through what we did. So I've put coaching tools right in that book.
Not just the story, but of course the road to get there. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, Jeff. It's been about a month since the Olympics. How are you feeling now about the experience and what's next for you career-wise?
Well, you know, the experience of being in Vancouver, you know, I had the injury for my event, so I didn't get the result I was shooting for, but the experience of being there representing Canada and the groundswell of momentum that I think that the Olympics brought to Canada was absolutely unbelievable. It was far and above the last 2 Olympics I've been to as far as the experience goes. What's next? You know, I want to get back and I want to help people. I want to help maybe developing athletes. I want to help executives. I've learned a lot about performance and planning and strategy and all those things in the last 15 years of sport. So in and out of sport, I want to get back and help families and relationships and just people develop and become more successful.
One of those tools right here, The Business of Marriage and Medals, a relationships journey through elite performance. Where do we pick it up?
You can get it off of our website, and it's also going to be found in a number of chapters, locations coming to a neighborhood near you.
Near you. BreakfastTelevision.ca for some of those links. Ali and Jeff Payne, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank
It's
you.
been great. Thank you.
Pick up the read, and in the meantime, we're going to pick up the latest news, weather, and traffic headlines straight ahead on Breakfast Television.